Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Packaging Parables. We at Harpak-ULMA are super excited to be reigniting our webinar series. It's been something that we were really happy when we did in about 2021 or late 2022 might have been the last time that we did our webinar series, but so much has happened in the world of packaging and here at Harpak-ULMA that we figured it was a great way to jump back in and explore some new topics for the new packaging world that we are all living in. Uh, if you've listened to our podcast series, Rappy Hour, that's a great way to get some quick bites on some packaging knowledge. But we figured the webinar series would be a great way to dive into some deep cuts, get some more folks on all at once, and just really collaborate and see how we can uh, educate this packaging world and see what we can uncover. So we've got some great automation experts here today, and I'm really excited to pick their brains. They've got some great insights to share. So without any further ado, I'll just have we'll go through the loop here. I'll have all these gentlemen introduce themselves. I guess we'll start with John from Harpak.
Sure. Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is John Weddleton. I'm the product manager for our automation division here at Harpak-ULMA Packaging. I've been in the automation industry for 11 years now, six with Harpak-ULMA, coming up on six. So where my team gets involved is anytime there's any type of robotic loading or case packing, palletizing, full product to pallet automation and packaging systems is what Harpak-ULMA is prides us ourselves on. And when there's any type of automation included in those lines, when my team gets involved. So happy to be here. I've done this before with Justin. We work closely. Obviously, happy to be with our close partners from PTC and Rockwell for sure. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got an all-star crew here. So I'll pass it over to Justin, Ryan. You guys want to rock, paper, scissors for the next one, or?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can go. Justin Garski. So I'm Rockwell Automation's OEM segment manager in North America here for all things packaging and converting print webs. So if you bought it at a convenience store or a grocery store, odds are one of my customers, like Harpak-ULMA, built a machine that got that stuff to you. I've been here for 10 years. My focus has been all things motion control and robots prior. And I would say in the last 5 or 6 years, as we've pivoted towards this digital evolution with our partners like PTC, this has become front and center. So I've had to. You can teach an old dog new tricks. You might not be good at them yet, but here we are. So yeah.
Awesome. I love that.
All
How
right,
about
and,
you,
and
Ryan?
I'm Ryan Orwoll. So thank you, Andrew, for having all of us here today and to be here with John and Justin. Really looking forward to the discussion and the topics that we're going to cover here today. So, as mentioned, I come from PTC. PTC is a software company that we provide solutions for product development, IoT connectivity, and augmented reality experiences. We have a range of different tools and platforms, to really help our customers create and manage digital products, connect devices and systems, and enhance their customer experiences through immersive AR technology. And that's where I come in. So I'm the head of product for our Vuforia Enterprise Augmented Reality product suite. So really, looking to help our companies achieve their digital transformation goals. And AR is a great way to do that. I've been with PTC for coming on 20 years here in June. In the last 6 years of it has been all on the Vuforia and augmented reality side. So really looking forward to the topics and discussions today. I think it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, me as well. It's so cool to hear. I can't imagine how that AR journey has been over the past 6 years, but I bet we'll find out by the end of the episode. I just realized I haven't done a good job introducing myself. I'm Andrew Cameron. I'm the digital marketing coordinator here at Harpak-ULMA. I wear quite a lot of hats on the marketing team, but my favorite hat to wear is the rich content hat. So I'm the host of our podcast series, Rappy Hour, and shouldering this webinar revival. So I'm very excited to jump in. It's a great way for me to learn. Obviously, I like to, help our audience learn and educate themselves, but I've only been in the packaging space for about a year and a half now, maybe a year and 8 months. Uh, but it's been so great to just learn from all the experts around our space. And I figured today with the Automation Innovation Alliance, as I'm calling it, it's great for us because we don't do automation just on our own at Harpak-ULMA. We're only as good at automation as we are the partnerships that we have with folks that we automate with. So I think that really helps us elevate our solutions and our expertise. And I'm really happy to have Justin and Ryan on, kind of the trifecta of automation right here. So I'm really excited to jump in. I guess without any further ado, I'll give you guys a softball. So let's talk about just cutting edge automation tools. And I'm curious if you all could each just dive into what you think some of the latest advancements in packaging automation are and what the practical applications of those innovations might be. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess I'll start just because I was the first to introduce myself. But so automation's kind of it's a loaded word, right? From my side, automation means, there's more physical equipment as well as the control side of automation and the augmented reality side of automation. So in my world, cutting edge is really new ways that we can automate our packaging lines for our customers. And people are always coming out with new products, new ways to automate. Customers are always looking to go faster in a smaller space. So it's our job to constantly try to innovate and come up with that next thing that works best for the package that they produce. So something we're working with right now, we're kind of a large focus this year on developing our vertical bagging lines. And our vertical bagging lines, doing case packing behind those, it's not always the best to pick them up robotically and to drop them into a case. So case packing, secondary packaging is typically what has to happen once it exits our machine to get into whatever it is, a case, a carton, a plastic tote, whatever it is. So typically robotically is what everyone hears. You pick and place it into a carton. You open it up, you load it in, you close it, off it goes. But for a vertical bag system, sometimes it's easier just to drop it in. So we've come up with a couple of new gravity loading solutions. So customers are actually really enjoying those because you don't need a robot expert on site. It's a way it's still servo driven. There's still a lot of flexibility in these lines, but you don't need a robot. You don't have to pick up the bag and place it into the box. You can create the layer and drop it in, controlled, so you're not damaging the product. But it's another way to get the product into the box that's perfect for our vertical bagging customers. And it's something where if robots aren't needed, but you can still do it automatically, a lot of our customers that are just getting into automation, they really like that opportunity to do it, in a simpler way. Because that's really my job is to do something that is probably kind of complex and to make it look simple. Because if it's simple, it's going to be repeatable. And that means it's going to be successful and reliable. So that's why we're always trying to make something complex more simple. And this is kind of one of the ways we're doing it. Another thing we are just delving into more this year is we just came out with our new line of vision systems. So the way that we can inspect, especially on our thermoformers, print inspection, product detection, seal inspection on packages, barcode legibility. So we're really excited about that because I think we'll talk about that later in the podcast, kind of the importance of having quality assurance equipment on some of these automation lines. So lots of new things, but those are the two that jump to mind.
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, John brought up our vision systems, but I feel like Ryan, you could speak to the alternative vision that you guys are working on.
Yeah, you bet. And that's where Eric comes in. What I really like about what John just said is the line of making something complicated more simple, and that's the whole point and the whole goal of what we're trying to provide at Vuforia with our augmented reality solutions. Trying to equip your frontline workers with those AR step-by-step work instructions or visual training guides to increase the operational performance or reduce errors and improve workforce efficiency. So I'm sure those packing machines need maintenance and service and setup, and it's a complicated process. I'm sure we've seen it working with Harpak. And being able to train or refresh or help those frontline workers that are doing that job, AR is fantastic at that. It reminds me, talking about this now, a recent Forrester study found that 77% of frontline workers say they don't have access to the technology that they need to be productive. And augmented reality is a key solution to that problem. We always tend to focus on software and tools for the desk worker and forget about the frontline worker a lot of times. But that's where most of the work is done, and that's where a lot of help can really make a huge difference. So Andrew, you asked about kind of like where kind of the ways or applications, of these, cutting edge or state of the art technologies that can be applied, and we see a ton of different ways and applications for AR to do that. So today we'll talk more about, or I'll talk more about how we're seeing our customers use augmented reality for cases like end of line inspection, service, machine operations, customer self-service, and then training digital mentor, which kind of covers all of those aspects. And AR, it's fantastic because it has so much of this broad applicability, as a new technology, because it's at the heart of it, it's really getting the right information into the person's hands, but at the moment that they need it and the location that they need it. And that's where the power really sets it apart from other technologies, making those complicated situations easy to follow and easy to understand. We're used to following paper-based instructions, and now with holograph instructions in space, it becomes much easier to see, understand, and follow along and make sure that you're doing the job correctly.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. Great insight there.
And I was going to say, Ryan, I was really hoping you were going to mention some of the 3D CAD tools that are out in space, right? And I know this isn't like new, right? We've had 3D CAD tools, and I think you guys were one of the originators of some of that technology. But I think, when it talks about design tools, I think focusing on the operator is awesome. But I do think as we move forward, it seems like we skipped a generation of engineers, and I think how you design and build equipment and really get it through the Harpak-ULMA ecosystem, from concept on a whiteboard or a napkin to physical steel, is still a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge until we kind of staff up. And I think being able to import that 3D CAD, and really it's a fork in the road. Part of it goes off to the work instruction and the data and what happens after, but also utilizing some of the code generation tools and library development tools and things to speed through really the design cycle. So we have tools where you can bring in that 3D CAD piece. The model then says, okay, I know what that thing is. That's an in-feed conveyor. Here's the associated libraries where the code, and you can hit generate my program, and it'll get you 70 to 90% of the way done. And then the engineer can kind of spit shine that last little bit and do the nuanced details. So I think some of that workflow, and you guys can correct me, but it kind of that same workflow moves in through the documentation and the instruction tool set as well. But I do think there's a lot of code generation and things to make things easier instead of starting with a file new hello world kind of an application. So yeah, for sure, it's a wild time to be on the design side of things.
Definitely seems that way. I really like what you were talking about, Ryan, with just essentially giving people the right tools at the right time. And I think that especially today, people can be overwhelmed by information. I mean, there can be hundreds of repairs or maintenance processes that need to be done on a specific machine. So to have to filter through all those at a given time when it comes time to fix something, versus just saying like, hey, I need to fix this vacuum pump or something like that. And then all of a sudden, all right, boom, here it is. Go have fun. It's almost like going to build a Lego set. I mean, building that Lego Death Star would be a lot easier if you had like a hologram in front of you showing you how it's supposed to look like, rather than fanning through the whole booklet of. I'm sure that's a pretty thick instruction book right there. But I guess that leads to the follow-up question. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm saying there's nothing like getting the 72-page IKEA step through, right? Trying to build, which I did a couple of months ago. It took 12 years, 12 hours out of my life that I'll never get back, but literally trying to figure out what they meant. And it was like 56 to 60 different steps. And you're just trying to figure it out. It is not coming to life in front of you. If it did, it would, because a lot of times what people do now, they'll YouTube it, right, and have someone walk through it. But
Mhm.
that's also challenging too, because it's not always exactly the same. But to have something right there in front of you in 3D, I mean, how much easier would that make? I'd get at least 10 of the 12 hours back of my life.
Yeah.
You would, and we'll talk about some of those metrics that we're seeing from our customers here in a bit. I'm sure Andrew will ask that question coming up. But to hit on your point of being able to follow it, yeah, and that's we've all lived the Legos or the IKEA scenario, and that's what I mean by that paper-based instructions, and that's how hard they are to follow. And even video-based instructions. Everyone's tried that again, and you know how many times you've got to rewind and rewatch the
Yeah.
same section over and over again. But what AR is so good at is providing that instructions in context, in space, in the world that you're living in. And when you see that holographic piece come in or twist off or screw in, super easy to understand and follow. Okay, that's the piece I need, and this is the correct location of where I need to put it. And that's why we see such benefits on efficiencies and reduction of errors by using ARs, because it's so hard. It's harder to mess up and do the wrong thing because you're literally just following along, in space, in context, in the world that you're working on in front of you.
Yeah, I can't
When
tell you
Ryan
how
did,
great.
go
Go
ahead, John.
ahead. Go ahead. So thanks, Justin. No, I can't emphasize enough how important the maintenance side of things are for our equipment and the ease of maintenance or remote maintenance is. I mean, I'm more on the commercial side, so I don't see it as much as like the service team does. But I know when we're getting towards the end of FATs or even ends of like coding processes, it's so important to know, okay, guys, you're not, everything's the FAT is going to go great. We have months to prepare, and the equipment be brand new. But what happens on the day before Thanksgiving when I'm running and I'm a bakery and it's my busiest time of the year and something goes boom? You know what I mean? It's so critical for these guys and girls to understand how when things break, how the fastest way to fix them. So I just can't emphasize that enough about how important it is and how it leads to the growth of our business being able to offer that type of support on the back end.
Well, I was going to piggyback a little bit on what you're saying, Ryan, and I think too, we've had videos on HMIs for a long time, or maybe it's YouTube, and the fact that you guys can do it hands free, right? This isn't a set of glasses. If you've done it, to the most potential, but even on, hey, I've got videos on the HMI. I have a real short-term memory problem, so I'll watch that chunk of 10-second video, and by the time I get to the other side of the machine, and now I have to like flip it in my brain, right? Because it's 180 degrees off. Just like you were saying, being able to overlay that and have it at the angle that I'm at, not where the camera guy was at when it was recorded. Like super huge. And I think there's some challenges with, basic blueprint reading, right? And this takes a lot of that skill set that we all grew up with out of the equation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we talk a lot about going from I worked at Chick-fil-A yesterday to tomorrow I'm going to do the maintenance procedure on a Harpak-ULMA thermoformer or tray former, right? And you go, holy cow, you're going to do what? And your technology really makes that possible, right?
Yeah, it's
You
really
bet.
cool to see. I can speak firsthand just because I've had the opportunity to actually go through one of these repairs and be one of the uneducated, unexperienced. I don't know how to read a blueprint very well, or at all for that matter. Um, but when PTC was in our customer experience center, they were doing some recording for the Vuforia solution, and they had me in like a big smock or whatever it's called that like the packaging techs wear, and I had the goggles on, and I went through a whole I think it was a vacuum manifold repair, um, and I went through it really fast, and it was really easy, and I've never maintained or even opened one of those machines before. So for me on the marketing side, where I'm usually pretty disconnected from the machines, it was a really cool to understand our machines more and also to feel like I had that ability in myself. So my follow-up question to you, Ryan, is how do you believe that these kind of solutions empower a workforce? And then the flip side of that would be how you're seeing folks execute training initiatives at either a faster rate or a more successful rate.
Good question. Yeah. So at PTC, like we believe that workers are at their best when they're what we call a connected worker. And so what does that mean? So it could be, a frontline worker in the factory, it could be a technician out in the field, but they're connected to the people so that they can collaborate with their coworkers, their teammates, or the customers even. They're connected to their products, so they're familiar with their products. They can monitor them using modern devices and tools and IoT sensors, but they're also connected to their processes. So they can access the critical information to do the job that they need. And it's these three aspects that we really focus on to ensure that we're enabling our customers workers to be connected. And what it really comes down to at the end of the day is just having that ability to access the digital tools to make the right decisions or have the critical information at their hands, just like what we were talking about earlier. And then the second part of your conversation, when it comes to to training and how then what we're doing on Vuforia and with AR to turn a worker into a connected worker is by presenting that information that we were just talking about in a modern format. And like you were saying, it was really cool to put the glasses on, or even use a phone or a tablet, and see the AR, guide you, to the right place and what to do. That helps, with the retaining of that information and getting new employees, excited, to work at a company that is modern and using new tech. And training is like the first place that all comes, to kick them off and get them excited about what they're doing, what they're going to be, doing, in their role. So it's this combination of overlaying the data in the instructions, in that physical world where they need it, but in a modern way that gets people excited and wants them to, it gets them to want to do their job, day in and day out. And we see training as a fantastic place to start, using augmented reality, and then grow from there. It gets people in, it gets people understanding, how to use this new tech and new devices. But we see people get just as excited as how you were describing that story, Andrew. We see that everywhere that we go with our customers. It's people getting excited to do a job that in the past you wouldn't have seen that same level of excitement. And training is a great place to start with that.
Absolutely. I'm sure people are excited to hear that they don't have to spend an entire week fixing a machine. I don't think that sounds fun to anybody. So yeah, it's really cool to hear that. I'm not sure if either of you guys have a perspective on the Vuforia stuff. I don't know if you guys have had the experience to play around with it yet, but it's really cool. They're basically building the Vision Pro of packaging. It's pretty sweet. Um, if there's anything I wanted to touch on more, is something I touched on in the very beginning, and that was kind of about, you know, any three of these companies, like whether it's PTC, Rockwell, or Harpak, we can all automate on our own. But I think what makes our situation really unique or interesting, in my opinion, is how much the partnership between not just us three here, but there's a lot of other partnerships that like we have, and I know PTC has, and I know Rockwell has. So I'm curious to see how you all believe that strategic partnership can not only help your business, but also help, kind of like a rising tide lifts all boats. You know what I mean? That's kind of the perspective that I get from it. Because I know that we could automate on our own at Harpak, but we automate better because we partner with folks like PTC and folks like Rockwell.
Yeah, I can kind of speak to that, Andrew, for sure. I know that when I first came on board just about 6 years ago, our CEO Kevin Roach was just started kind of toying with this idea, this whole Industry 4.0. And the first thing that he did was find the partnership with PTC and Rockwell, because I think he recognized, like, okay, like you said, like on our own, we have this idea, we understand our packaging industry, and we know how it could affect them, but we don't have the tools to do what we know needs to be done. So who does? And that's why we reach and partner with the industry leaders like PTC and Rockwell. And we created that partnership, I think, we're pretty early to the game, if not one of the first in packaging to the game when it comes to Industry 4.0 and AI. But we started then, and really what the benefit is the collaboration of us knowing the packaging and our automation side, right? Rockwell knowing the controls side, PTC knowing the AI side, and being able to create a comprehensive and thoughtful solution for our industry and our customers by using the expertise of these two great industry leaders, because we don't know what we don't know, but we know what our customers need, and they don't know. They know what they know, but they don't know what our customers need necessarily until So that triumvirate, that's how the triumvirate kind of works. So I think that is the best way for us to be able to service our customers better and be a better partner. We need to rely on people like Rockwell and PTC to create. We have this vision, and we need these industry leaders to help lead the way. And by collaborating, we can all truly understand the main issue and how to scratch that itch. And the collaboration so far has just been incredible. I have one of our salespeople are in today, and he's going to PTC this afternoon with a customer. Too. So it's not helpful as well that we're both in the Boston area. But we have a customer coming to see our facility, wants to talk about AI, Industry 4.0, and we can give them our side of it here, and then actually take them to the PTC facility and show them some real life examples in their facility. So it just shows you, the way that we can benefit our customers, but be a better partner by collaborating, teaming up with these two great companies.
And I know on our end, right, we've got demonstration units at Harpak, and I think it's been at the PTC facility as well. Like, we've built some common stuff together, and I think from where we sit, and you highlighted this, John, right, we've got a 100+ years in the factory at that automation level, so we're where the data's born, we're where it all starts. You guys apply your IP and your intelligence, but without people like PTC to continue to build and expand upon that. And I think, specific to the data, I think about where it goes in ThingWorks and some of the contextualization and the rest of the picture that you guys are able to paint. We're not that, right? That's let you guys do what you do well, and we'll get you that data and go from there.
Yeah, it's kind of a, non-football fans will hate this, but Bill Belichick's, his main focus was always do your job, right? Know your role and do your job and do it well. And if each of you as an individual person on that team does your job, you're going to have a successful team. And that's kind of like this is. We each know where our focus is and where we excel and what we can add to the team. And in the end, you get, a great product out of it that helps all of our customers.
Yep.
John,
And that's
are you
exactly
Tom Brady
how.
in this situation?
I'm definitely Tom. Yeah. In my own mind, Ryan, I am.
Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, but that's how we look at it too. Obviously, it's the sum of the pieces together are greater, and the partnerships that we've built here tells that story, because at the end of the day, all three of us are looking to do the same thing here, which is create products that help our end users and our customers in our case, to have better products, to have better processes, and create what they're looking for to make their jobs easier, to make their lives easier, and have new tools to do that along the way.
Absolutely. Really appreciate all those insights there, guys. I mean, from my somewhat outside lens, my perception is that, change doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's going to happen regardless. So you got to see who kind of are the thought leaders and the, I guess, catalysts of change in our space. And I think, in the eyes of Kevin and the rest of our team at Harpak, we saw that PTC and Rockwell just had that under their belt, and they had that, and it was a good partnership for us for that reason, because you guys knew how to do what you were doing. And it works, and it still is working. I mean, I know for a fact, I'm doing a lot of work with our various memberships. So whether that's like a National Meat Association or like the Wisconsin Cheesemakers Association, for example, we make machines for cheese packaging, but at the end of the day, we don't have cheese experts conferring in a huddle every day. we got to learn from some of these people and let them say, hey, these are what the cheese manufacturers and processors are dealing with. So can you help with that? And I think that by partnering with people that kind of cover all the bases in the automation space, it really helps us kind of get a picture of what customers are struggling with and how we can help. So I guess that actually blends really well into the next topic, which would be right onto Industry 4.0. So I was wondering if we could talk more specifically about the role of ancillary equipment and solutions in driving those Industry 4.0 pillars, as well as how it helps to drive change and achieve ROI for somebody at the bottom line. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters to people, right? Don't all jump in
I
at
feel like
once.
that's a John jumping off point
Yeah,
there. It's,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
when it comes to ancillary equipment, so I mean, it's critical, like, because like I said, we pride ourselves on that being that full, you know, you tell us what the product is and how I'm receiving it and in what form it is, and and what machine it has to go into and how fast, and we'll take the automation from there and get it on a pallet and get it stretch wrapped and out the door, right? But in between, there are so many different things besides just our equipment that need to happen that actually benefit us and benefit the customer and benefit their sustainability, their footprint, and also their ROI. Things like metal detection, vision inspection, check weighing, labeling. Critical because what they're doing along the way is they're kind of they're making sure that the products that get to my automation equipment are good, right? And if they're not good, they're not missed. If they're not good, they don't get packaged or they don't get put in a case, so that they're not opened up at the store level. Say use bagels for example. They're not opened up at the store level and realize, oh, there should be 10 bagels in this package. There are 8, right? Or this label is unreadable, so I can't scan it, so it's useless. I have to throw it out. If those are caught by something like a vision system that can read the label and read the code and make sure it's good and legible and the barcode's readable, and if we can recognize that it's not and reject it, those bagels can get reworked, right, and put back into the process and reused instead of thrown out. So less defects, higher ROI because it also allows us to be more flexible. So sustainability where you're having less defects and you're able to rework products that are rejects to start but can be reworked and reused and not thrown away at the store level. The flexibility, though, it also adds for us come in something like a label where we can read these labels and create flexibility within the system. So we did a palletizing system for a company that they were sending, I think it was up to 60 boxes or plastic totes to us per minute, full of product. But there was a label on the tote or the box. And what we were able to do is we were able to scan that label and automatically assign it to a certain lane, right? So they could send up to 8 different SKUs to us at a time. So in one system, they can send 8 different boxes or totes at us with 8 different types of products in it at once. And just because that little label's there and we can read it, means we can totally create a flexible solution with one palletizing system to handle all 8 SKUs at a time. Because we can divert into 8 different lanes. When there's, that lane has enough boxes or totes to create a pallet, we can release it to the palletizer, palletizes it, and out it goes into the warehouse or onto a truck. Without being able to read that label, you're going off to 8 different palletizing and probably manual palletizing lines. More people, safety issues. Manual palletizing is very hard on the body. These people are not going to last very long at jobs like that. They're just very hard jobs. And their jobs aren't going away. They get to go to a different part of the plant and be, do a more valued position, be something that they can be cultivated and stay there for years to come because they actually have a rewarding job and something that isn't breaking their body down all day. So there's just all that from one little label is possible. Without the label, we can't do anything like that. So ancillary equipment like labeling can help make our jobs easier, make our systems more flexible. And then on the front end, something like vision, recognizing bad products or bad labels or packages that are miscount or or underweight, boxes that are underweight, be able to reject them right away and rework is a huge for sustainability, which is huge with our customers as well. So sorry, I went off a little bit of a diatribe there, but it's a big part of our lines, and it's not, we don't manufacture this equipment, but we have such close partners within all those different types of QA equipment companies because they're critical. Because our customers want that full line. They want us to take ownership of that and create that full line, do the full FAT, and let's see that whole thing run. Maybe even offer the full line OEE as well, and include their equipment. And you can't do that without close partners. So we're very, yeah, it's a critical part of our lines, even though we don't technically manufacture that type of equipment.
Well, and John, I think too, as you're talking through that, one thing that leaps out to me, and back to when I used to build equipment, how you communicate to those pieces of ancillary equipment is super critical. And I know,
Critical.
whether it's Ethernet IP or you pick a different protocol that isn't kind of the North American standard, picking one and making sure it's easy for you guys to communicate to those things gets time to value a lot faster. So I think,
Yeah.
again, that's where as an automation provider, we're really good at helping piece together that piece of the ecosystem. So you guys focus on delivering OEE and the whole line, and we can help kind of connect those dots and take that workload off of you, instead of going, I'm going to write a custom serial driver over the next 160 hours and killing a bunch of
100%.
time and energy. So yeah.
100%. It's such a great thing to be able to be like, oh, it's not a big deal. We'll just get a signal from that and we'll, handle it here. It's seamless, right? It's not all this new programming, because the handshaking, the customer looks at these full lines, these fully automated lines, like, wow, there are 15 pieces of equipment here. How are you doing all the handshaking? What's the line control like? And we're just like, no, don't worry. We offer a centralized Allen Bradley Rockwell line control system. So the handshaking, even if the system, some of the systems have a different PLC, the line control is always done with full Allen Bradley controls. So the handshaking is done and controlled by one centralized, and typically there'll be like a pedestal with one, panel view there where they can do the line control from one HMI. You're not going to maybe run a machine that's 100 feet down the line for safety issues, but you're going to set up all the handshaking on one centralized system. And that always kind of stops the conversation. Like, okay, you guys have already thought about this, and there is a solution to it because you have the centralized line control with Rockwell. So
I also imagine that the larger the scale and scope of a project, the more important it is to have those, I guess, like back end solutions ready, like having a good training program that's ready to, be there to help you if and when things go wrong. I don't want to say if, I mean, things always go wrong.
yeah,
I mean,
it's equipment.
we produce
Yeah.
good solutions, but at the end of the day, things always turn south. I believe Murphy's Law says something about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're able to, we have online and in-person trainings here. Training's another critical part. When we're quoting installations, how long are you guys going to stay for training? Well, we'll stay as long as you want, right? That's part of it, the production startup and the training aspect. But don't worry, once we leave, we still offer online courses or in-person courses here. We're fortunate enough to, I think, believe the only packaging company that you can get continuing ed credits towards degrees because of our Cliff, our trainer. So yeah, a critical part. We had people in here just a couple weeks ago from a plant in Rhode Island. They spent 3 or 4 days here learning in the classroom, going out to our customer experience center, putting their hands on the machine, things like that. But training is a critical piece.
Heck yeah. Wasn't sure if you had something to jump in on there, Ryan. I know that was
Yeah,
ancillary
sure.
stuff.
I'll piggyback off the training topic there on the ancillary equipment stuff. That the two experts already spoke there, so I won't add on to that anymore. But I think the training part is really key here, because we take training, it's very seriously when we're focusing on our Vuforia product line. Because going back to what we were saying before, it's all about bridging that skills gap, by AR helping bring workers up to speed and doing it in a way that's easy to understand and easier to retain. Why that's so important is because we hear all the time from companies, that their experts are retiring. It's becoming more and more difficult to hire new employees. And so then with fewer experts or fewer resources, getting that efficiency becomes really, really key. Ensuring that the machines are assembled correctly, or that the inspection procedures are completed with accuracy, so that the right label gets on, or the right number of bagels gets in the package, or in service. And you want to make sure that the person is trained, so that when they're called out to fix something, their first time fix rate is as high as can be. And that's where that efficiency really comes in. And AR is as we've been talking, not to keep harping on it, but a great way to provide that guidance in a clear way that can be followed, so that companies that are seeing their experts retire or move on, being able to bring in that next generation of workers and make sure that they can get up to speed and operating and executing at that needed level to be productive as soon as possible as they can.
Don't feel bad about harping. You guys are all here to harp. Just want to throw that out there. And I actually really like that point that you brought up, and that there's people retiring that are leaving behind skills that aren't there anymore. And Justin, I believe, touched on this earlier as well, and that it seems like we kind of lost a generation of engineers. So I guess laying a little deeper into it, how do you think that do you think that trend is going to continue? And do you think that the Vuforia solution, or I guess any of PTC's solutions, will help to continue to combat that? Because it seems like it's an issue that's going to keep going on.
And that's our belief too, is that right now it's not showing any signs of slowing down anytime soon. So now is the right time to get ahead of that and get the processes in place to be able to kick off those training initiatives now and before it's too late, while you still do have the subject matter experts around. And we see training kind of take place in two different ways. There's the classroom side of the training, and AR is a fantastic way to do even classroom training. Even if the machine isn't in front of you, but there's a holographic version of it in front of you. Going back to what we were saying earlier, the ability to retain that information is far greater in that way, because you're seeing a representation of what the physical object looks like in life-size scale. And so as the procedure, you're following along in the procedure and learning it, you're seeing it in what it's going to really look like in the real world when you go to do it. So it's going to be familiar in that scenario. Versus reading a manual, taking a test, hard to retain that information. And then if you can take it to the next level of doing that training on top of the physical machine, so that the overlay AR instead of like the tabletop AR was just talking about, that overlay AR where you're seeing the holograms and the pieces of the parts coming in or being removed, and the steps that you need to do, the retention is even greater that way. And so there's benefits and values to both that truly do show fantastic results above and beyond what our companies are used to doing when it comes to training.
Ryan, do I dare flirt with this idea? And I know production and safety are real serious matters, but we can kind of make that gamification of it too, right? Where it's no longer, hey, I went to a factory and I did the dirty, dangerous, and dull. It's, I went to a factory, I put on this really cool thing, and look at, I have the fastest changeover time with a first time out the door production product that's been recorded, right? And I think you can kind of change that skill set and the outlook as to what it is. And look, I think manufacturing had a really bad rap for a long time. I feel like that's changing. And I think technologies like this really help bring that into a point where kids go, it's cool. Not a dirty weld shop that I saw in my school book from Henry Ford's 1945 factory, right? Like we've all been in med device and some of these food shops where you're going, man, you could just about eat off the floor. I'm not going to, but you could. We've changed it. So
it's a good point, Justin. I think you might be the technology could be opening up open up the door for this whole new set of younger technicians and engineers because they're excited to use the technology.
Exactly.
Like you said, like that didn't exist before. Because yeah, the maintenance manager that's about to retire, 3 to 4 years, that has a wealth of knowledge from being able to fix every little thing, that is really going away. And those people also don't. They always like to keep it close to the vest too. They don't always train internally, so when that person retires and moves on, so all that knowledge goes away as well. But if you open up a tool like that, and the word starts spreading, like you said, like the whole manufacturing, the connotation of manufacturing changes to much more positive. So I think that's a great point, Justin.
It's a really good point. And what's helping here too is that the devices are only getting better, and getting better quickly. Like we're seeing this now with the Apple Vision Pro, and it's a fantastic, amazing device. And Apple's only going to continue to make that better, and the other competitors in the field are now going to have to meet that bar, and they're going to get better as well. And that does create excitement. Justin, you also you kind of slipped in a little mention about safety as well. That was a really good point there, because with AR, it's far easier to use holograms to say, don't touch this area because it's hot, or don't cross this line because there's moving parts, or whatever it may be. So there's the angle of it's easier to follow, it's easier to understand, it's more interesting to work on, but it's also can make workers safer, and not have to worry about these dangerous or dirty jobs, to go to work and be confident in the work that they're going to be doing, and knowing that they're going to be safe doing it as well.
When I think back to when I was a field service tech a long time ago in a place far away, and sometimes the first time you saw the machine was when it was broken and you had your yellow toolbox full of wrenches and screwdrivers. You're going, I don't know, I don't even know how it was supposed to work. Can anybody tell me how it was supposed to work? And in what you're saying, right, as far as the safety and a speed, like, man, if I could have put this thing digitally on the table in front of me, just the confidence, right? You've got a better shot at getting something done faster. So or the bourbon tour where the guy says, "Hey, there's a hot sign on that pipe. Don't touch it. Just believe us. It is hot." Right?
Yeah.
And maybe as you get closer, you can make that flash and go, "Don't touch it for real. Don't touch it." So
Yeah.
it's wild what we can do now.
I'm reminded of my former marketing director. She's moved on to personal career at this point, but she was with Harpak for a good bunch of years, and the packaging world kind of in general. One of the first things that she told me, being completely new to this space, is that packaging is not sexy, but it's getting there. And I think that that's kind of a where I'm seeing this, like in the work that we're doing with Rockwell, and in the work that we're doing with Ryan, and in the not just Ryan, but PTC as a whole there, and the work that we're doing with like these vision systems and stuff. And for me, from an outside lens, or more of an outside lens, it's been really cool to see how much goes in on the back end that you don't see at the consumer level. Like, people buying their bread at the grocery store aren't going to know that somebody had to fix their machine with an AR tool just to get that bread down the line there. Um, so it's kind of an interesting dynamic for me to see, and I'm curious, and this goes out to all of you, if you can talk about it, because I know that there's a lot of NDAs in our space. If you can, like, showcase or highlight the impact of automation or AR tools, on packaging efficiency, or maybe Ryan, in your case, you've seen folks use the Vuforia in a different lens, not in the world of packaging, but how it's just improved their ROI. I'm really curious if any of you've got some insights there.
I can talk for hours on this, but John or Justin, do you want to go first, and then I'll
Go for it, Ryan.
Okay. So again, we see this across the board from all those different applications of different use cases where we see AR have a big impact. Maybe I'll start with training, because we've been talking a lot about training. So two examples that I can share there are Volvo. So they're using AR to train their operators, and using AR to get their operators up to speed. And what they're seeing is a 60% time savings in doing that. In many cases, it's that time to get their quality operators up to speed, and contributing is now less than 2 weeks, to the point of they've got enough knowledge then that they can actually be assigned tasks to go out and do tasks that work instructions that they need to be able to complete, and they have the trust and the faith that because they went through that training and using AR that they're going to be able to do that, and they've got the data to prove that. Sticking with training, the other aspect that oftentimes gets overlooked is the by using AR, it allows you to not have to pull your experts out of the factory floor or out of the field if they're doing service to train the new employees when they come in. You can give the new employees the AR training work instructions, and the experts can continue doing the work that they need to do to make your company successful. And so Merck is doing this, and what they're seeing is a 70% time reduction, or of 70% less time of taking their subject matter experts out of their normal work to do that training. There's some work to make sure that the training materials are accurate and up to date and provide the information that they need to the new workers. But once you've done that, it's this one-time investment, and then going forward, you have that library of AR training material that can be used without having to pull them out of the field or off the floor. So they're seeing a massive improvement from that by keeping those long-term experts doing the valuable work that they need them to be doing. So I covered service there, or training there, but then when it comes to like manufacturing and service, we also see fantastic data coming in from our customers there as well. So Peterbilt's another one. So they're using AR guided work instructions for when their technicians need to go out and service or do a task that they haven't done in a long time or have never done. And what they're seeing is these service operations, depending on the complexity or the size of the machine, reducing the service time by 20 minutes to even up to 24 hours in some of those extreme, complicated cases, by being able to follow, the instructions and as we're talking about, easy to understand and make sure that they're doing it right, even though they've never, done this before. So, depending on, the number of steps or the complexity of them, even on the short ones, 20-minute improvement, in an hour task is a huge improvement. And then, up to many hours in those more complicated ones. And then now I'm gonna steal, John, maybe some of your thunder and talk about the work that we've been doing with Harpak.
Please do.
All right, great, and please chime in with other pieces of data or information too. But one thing that we've been working closely with you on is using AR and Vuforia to do a tool rebuild, and the results that Harpak has seen is 80% faster doing that rebuild, but more importantly, a complete removal of the errors throughout that process. So this tool rebuild normally consumes about 40 hours. And in a lot of cases, it's getting the workers down to being able to do it in 8 hours. But again, it's that key piece of faster, but also accurate, with zero errors. And that's where the true savings come in. And you've shared with us, it's up to savings of $250,000 per line when you add in that downtime, the training, the reduction in errors. And that's a crazy high number, but you're seeing it over and over again. When you apply that out to multiple lines, it's fantastic. It's crazy, really, on how much of an improvement AR can have in these different situations. Anything you add on that, John?
No, I think it's incredible. I think the point there too is doing it correctly the first time. I think that is something that's it's hard to quantify. It's hard to put a number to that. Like how much time, the person's working on it, but how much time are they spending doing it once or two or three times?
Yep.
Because that's what we see a lot. Like it's never done right the first time, but no one ever quantifies exactly how much time that is to redo it, right? So I think that's a really important point to do it one time. And to go back to the IKEA thing, but imagine doing 10 steps. Realize sometimes you're on the 10th step before you realize you did the 5th step wrong,
Oh, we've
right?
all done
And
that.
and you have to go all the way back.
Yeah.
So what amount of time is there, and so that's one thing, that person's time, right, to fix the machine or do the tool change. But then what is the downtime that is attached to that? That's where the real money is. Because just, a half an hour of downtime is thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars potentially, for medical applications. So I think I really love that point of not just doing it faster, but doing it more efficiently, doing it right the first time. And I think that's just a huge win for our customers, because a lot of the times they're going in blind. Like Justin said, with his first time, some of this equipment's brand new to them too. So if they have something there that's telling them exactly how to do it, it's a huge win for us. So yeah, perfect fit for what we're looking for.
Well, and I think too, John, and I put my former field service hat on, you get out to customer site, and it's one thing if it's you're working on your own stuff, right? I'm going to go change the brakes on my car. And if I have to redo it, all right, I didn't get to ice cream and TV time in the same amount of time that I expected. But, when your customer line's down and you're charging them, and
Yeah,
I don't remember what current service rates are, but sometimes you're talking north of $200 an hour.
yeah,
And if you have to do it twice, like, it kind of reflects bad too. You look back and you go, why did I pay for this guy to be here for 2 days instead of one day? Oh, he made a mistake, right? And now all
right,
of a sudden it's like you start getting in this friction point. And so I look at just the friction and the customer relationship you can build, again, by doing it right the first time and using these tools. Killer, right? Like I had to eat a lot of crow as a service guy doing things the first time, going, ooh,
hmm,
sorry, it costed you an extra 4 hours, but your machine works now. Are you happy? And they're like, well,
right.
we'd be happier, but so yeah, it's there's a lot of angles to it and a lot of benefits. Andrew, you're
Oh, you're
muted.
muted.
You look like you've got something really cool
Yeah,
coming
I'm
out,
sure
I
it's
but
do.
birds
I do.
chattering.
I had like a sneeze like in the chamber, and I didn't want to like rip it out. Uh, but I really appreciate all the insights there, guys. You've all done such a great job about bringing your expertise in and just kind of going around the circle here. So I've been really appreciating it, and it's been great because my throat kind of hurts a little bit. So you guys have made it great on me not having to talk as much. Um, I think we've gone through a lot of the discussion points that I have. I do have a few questions that we've sourced from some folks that we can ask. I wanted to start with one that is about single source suppliers. So, explain the importance
Hmm.
of a single source supplier and for a large scale packaging or automation project.
Okay, I think I can take this one. I live it every day. Yeah, going back to simplifying things, right? Taking a large complex project with multiple pieces of equipment and making it as simple as possible for the customer is kind of what we're fortunate enough that we have a big enough offering to do that, to offer that to our customers. And when they come to us, it's really, you know, it's lessening the burden on them, number one, because it's just a lot easier. The whole one throat to choke scenario, where they could say, okay, I'm giving you one purchase order. Here's this huge line, a thermoforming line, primary loading, case packing, palletizing. It's a couple $1 million, but I'm going to work through you. I'm going to give you one purchase order. All the equipment's going to come from one manufacturer. I'm going to have one project management team, project manager to speak to, be on weekly calls with, talk about the logistics of a project like this, going through the engineering phase, going through the manufacturing process, going through the FAT, SAT installation and training process. It just makes it a lot more seamless. So these customers are coming and say, we want, what can you do? And they're basically saying, what can't you do? quote whatever you can quote, because we want everything as much as possible to come from one person. And I equate it sometimes to if you were building your own house, right? You'd want to hire a builder to handle all the subcontracting. You don't want to handle all the subcontracting and make sure they're doing a good job, and it could be coming from all these different people that you don't know. You're coming from one trusted supplier to handle the full scope of work. So it's that first level of taking some of the complexity out of it. Logistically, that's a huge help to our customers. The other thing is you're being able to be the single source supplier. What we're able to offer is something like a full line FAT. So even a system that large, we can set up at our factory. The customer can come to the factory. We've agreed upon an FAT criteria, so they know exactly what they said. This is what I need to see before I leave and sign off that you could ship this to our factory and start the installation. And we're oftentimes, as long as it's not like a soft cheese or an ice cream or something like that, we can use their actual products and we can run them at rate, and we'll do the 2-hour runs or 8-hour runs, whatever it may be, whatever we've agreed upon with the customer, and we're hitting that efficiency rate that we've agreed upon, and they can actually see it sing the whole thing front to end, including the ancillary equipment, all the way through. And then they can think about different failure modes. I mean, we go through a lot of FMEAs with each of our projects to try to find these failure modes ahead of time, right? And have workarounds for all failure modes. But there are always things that customers find during the FATs when you have a full line there that we don't know, that they know, and they only thought about by seeing that line. So things like that, it makes it a huge benefit. A couple of times during COVID, we weren't able to do in-person full line FATs, and the FATs went great. The virtual FATs, oh my God, so easy because it's so hard to pick up the nuance of the things that the red flags. So being able to offer that, being the single source supplier and be able to offer that is huge for the customers. It gives them that level of confidence before it arrives on their doorstep that it's exactly what they bought. So just a couple of things. The other thing is, of course, the full line OEE. So if you have control of all the equipment, you can offer a full line OEE calculation. So our customer can go to our panel view HMI and go and see the OEE calculator and see exactly how that shift ran, where the alarms came from, where the stoppages were from. So you don't have to rely on the whiteboards now all the time. Be like, okay, we were down for 10 minutes because X broke. Okay, well, you're relying on the efficiency of the operator to do that. First of all, to do it, and then to do it and diagnose it correctly. When we can do it by offering the full line and having the full line OEE, being able to have the machine tell us and document exactly. And we even offer like a top 10 reasons for downtime screen, so they can see exactly, okay, this line, what are the issues? What are the problem points on this line, and why, and how do we fix them? And then in the end, it also gives you an accurate efficiency number. And we've had customers say, I'm running at 80%. And you go and actually put real OEE on the line, like you're running at 65%. How much is 15% efficiency to you? I'm guaranteeing you it's millions of dollars a year. So now let's look at how we can make it get actually 85%. So, sorry, another long-winded answer, but it's just something, yeah, it's a good question, something I live every day. But it's just really, really important to the customers to be like, they like, tell me where you can start and where you can stop, because I'm looking for a full turnkey solution from an automation packaging supplier.
Well, and John, to expand just a little bit on that too, you start mentioning faults and diagnostics and things, and I think, what you're talking about at the line level expands down into that machine architecture level as well, right? Like our stuff is designed to work with our stuff. You plug in our VFD into our controller, and all the parameters, all the tags, all the information, just it knows where it's supposed to go, right? It's that integrated architecture, that premier integration. And I think that helps you get data out of it faster, easier, simpler, again,
100%.
versus, am I trying to debug communicating between a Rockwell controller and a brand X drive, and then you start getting the finger pointing back and forth when it doesn't communicate and doesn't work. And I think that kind of one throat to choke and that turnkey end to end is super important for you guys and us.
100%.
It seems like it's really just about, giving folks the control that they need and also the insight that they need to like fully understand how their packaging is running. Like I think there's a lot of assumptions that seem to be made, whereas I mean, I come from a world of numbers and marketing. Like everything's trackable. Like marketing 30, 40 years ago was not as data oriented as it is now. So I live in like the data world of marketing, whereas, Don Draper and I probably wouldn't have gotten along because he's a lot more of a contextual marketer. Um, but yeah, really appreciate both the insights there, guys. And it actually works out kind of well because I've got a question, I believe, for you, Ryan, because it revolves around AR. Um, and they ask, what are the best practices my company should follow to set ourselves up for success with AR solutions?
Okay, so some best practices. So
Yes.
maybe I'd say three things, kind of where it starts with make sure that you have a clear like project or program, lead or manager that's responsible for like the implementation and adoption. And so that there is that one person that people know who to go to, know who's driving the plan, and so that there's always this clear person of driving and making sure everyone's doing their part. Two would be, speaking of the plan, is make sure that you have a strategy that has two aspects to it. One is a phased approach. Don't try to solve all of the use cases all at once. Start with training, or start with a simple inspection procedure, and then have a plan to grow from there incrementally, and then add in more and more as you advance. But then as you're advancing, make sure that you have, and this is the second aspect of this point, is to make sure that you have clear KPIs and things that you can measure. So we talked about time to get up to speed, or the number of errors that's being reduced compared to the old way of using paper-based instructions, and be able to show the benefits and the differences and the improvements that you're getting from those initial phases to help with the additional phases, and to get buy-in there. And then maybe the last one I would say is, this is maybe just a little tip to help out with, is that we what we see a lot is change is difficult, and people don't always want change. And when we're talking about frontline workers and these subject matter experts that have been doing their role for a long time, and getting them bought in on using a new technology can be difficult. They've been doing something for many years, and it's been working to what they needed to do, and change, even if that change brings on additional improvements, can be hard to convince people to accept it and buy in. So find that person that is sort of the lead, or the person that the rest of the team looks up to, and make sure you're working really closely with them, to get them bought in, and to be an advocate for you and with you, and that'll help everyone kind of follow along and get excited about the project, and adopt it, and be excited for that change. So I'd say that maybe a fourth one, actually, now that thinking about it, is having executive buy-in and sponsorship. Make sure you've got that person that's backing you, and is behind this to get the ROI and the value that you're expecting to see improving out, because you're keeping metrics and tracking those KPIs that I mentioned earlier.
Heck yeah, man. Awesome. Yeah, it really seems like buy-in. It seems like a big kicker with this kind of solution, but I think based on the conversations we were having before, as we get some new folks in, or we start to see the cyclical nature of packaging and who's in there, I think we'll start to see more and more people being willing to adopt AR. And I feel like it'll also hit a point where it's like, hey, like everybody else, all the other guys are using it, so like, what are we doing? Like, and I think packaging automation's the same way. So it's really interesting to see that. And even in the year and a half that I've been here, I've seen a lot of change happen. So um, it's been awesome to see, and I really appreciate all three of you coming here today. I mean, John, I expect you to be here because,
Yeah.
but Justin and
Am I
Ryan really,
obligated?
I guess so. Um, But I do really appreciate both of you so much for coming on. It's been great. I mean, in the podcast, I like to do it. We've still got, looks like 5 minutes on the webinar timer. So if you guys have anything else that you want to share, whether that's a fun fact or just a cool insight, some event that you're going to be at, anything, I'll give you guys the floor for a brief minute, and we'll wrap it up.
I've got one actually I can that I'd like to share, because you reminded me of it, Andrew, when you said, exciting and new technology, and I've been talking a lot about the AR side, but haven't brought in the artificial intelligence, the AI side, and so that's another cutting edge new technology that is everywhere now, and you can't escape it. And this is another one I get really passionate about, because the combination of AR with AI can do amazing things. And so if anyone's not familiar with our Vuforia Expert Capture product, but we have a capability in it called Step Check that combines AR and AI for inspection. So making sure that the products that when they leave your factory, or when you've completed a service or you've completed a training, it's actually telling the worker if they did it correctly, and gives them that moment to fix it, so that they do the job right the first time. So how this is again super passionate about this, because it's such a cool new technology. Imagine using AR to guide the worker to the right place, in context, in space, to where they're supposed to be working, where they're supposed to be looking, and then the device telling that worker if the step was done correctly or not, if it passed or if it failed, automatically, just by using AI to recognize what the camera is seeing. So was that bolt screwed all the way in correctly, or was the alignment of these two parts when they were assembled in the correct formation? All of those things and much more can be done with that combination of AR and AI, and we're only looking to expand that and see what our customers are doing and how they're leveraging it, and it's been super exciting. So really looking forward to what we're doing, and how that technology is going to really complement and benefit AR as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'll just say,
oh yeah, there we
I
go.
was gonna say we're marching towards show season here, so we've got a few months away, but a lot of these technology will be on display at Automation Fair in Anaheim in November, and then probably Pack Expo as well in Chicago this year, also November. So if you don't talk to us between now and then, stop by and check us out live and in person.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that as well. Yeah, Pack Expo is the largest packaging show that we do for sure in the U.S., and the Chicago one is the biggest one every other year. So we'll have another giant booth there. It's 100 feet by 60 feet, some nice big booth, and we always have a bunch of equipment, and also a really large AR side and digital demonstration there as well, which is always a huge attention getter for our customers and prospects. So keep an eye out. Yeah, if you want to see these things come to real life, take a trip to Chicago in November and see the real thing.
Heck yeah. And outside of the automated solutions, I think Alexandra will be there doing demos of the Vuforia stuff too, which will be awesome. So
Yep.
the whole trifecta will be there. Again, cannot express my gratitude for you all. I hope that everybody watching and listening realizes that we've got a team of all-stars here, and that this it took a lot of time to get everything together, but I'm really happy that it did. I think it went great. I can't think of a better way to revive the webinar series than talking about a subject that is not only important to us at Harpak, but important to the packaging industry as a whole, and also both of your spaces as well, even outside of the lens of packaging. So I really appreciate John, Justin, Ryan, really appreciate all of you so much. And I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day. And we'll catch you probably in a few months for the next packaging parables.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Yeah,
Andrew.
thanks,
Nice
Andrew.
job. Appreciate you putting it together.
Yeah, of course. Be well, everyone.
Be well.